Well, good morning, everyone. Thomas Montgomery here. It's a beautiful January 27th, 2026. We get together most weekday mornings at this time to talk about the grant, to talk about SPEs. What is an SPE? How does it work? How does it allow individuals to get large amounts of funding guaranteed? On our screen here today, we have a couple new resources that I wanted to introduce to you that I think will be very important going forward. On the left-hand side of the screen, we have the spefunding.com website. So this is the website that has information about the SPE, which we've talked about over several recent Zoom trainings. So, with that, there's an introduction that a SPE is a legal entity created for a specific purpose, often to isolate financial risk and manage assets without affecting the parent company's balance sheet. They're often used for large capital raises. It further describes that through the grant we received, we provide SPEs, special purpose entities, for entrepreneurs who are looking for business funding through a legal compliant model. These SPEs have many benefits, features, and positive attributes, but maybe the most important is, first of all, no out of pocket cost to the participant and a guaranteed minimum $250,000 capital raise. So when we come to spefunding.com, as we scroll down, it's a fairly simple one-page website. It does give us, I believe, what's needed for someone to go from awareness to involvement. So there's simply three steps on the SPE website. The first is we'd like people to watch the introductory training. It gives them the basics. So by watching the introductory training, which is accessed here, there's no cost, of course, not even a registration, no hoops to jump through. They're going to learn why SPEs are the best way to raise capital. They're going to learn how it's possible that we're able to literally contractually guarantee a capital raise through the SPE. Why it's not too good to be true. Understand what all is included in the SPE, which there's quite a features and benefits that I mentioned a moment ago. And then again, understand that financial model. The more you understand the SPE model, I think the harder it is to say no, to not participate, because there's no risk, there's no upfront cost. It provides a guaranteed minimum capital raise of 250,000 plus at least 250,000 in first month income. So that is where we would like prospects to start, to educate themselves, to understand objectively what is this SPE concept all about. So then we go to step two of the three steps, which is the advanced training. The advanced training is again available here on the website, no cost, no registration, no hoops to jump through. We're going to continue their knowledge of SPEs. We're going to teach them the formula for funding. This is a conversation I have nearly every day. And so, those of you who are our distribution partners, our affiliates, I bet you face this every day. There's lots of people out there that want money. A lot of people need money, sometimes desperately need money, but often they're missing the point. You need to have a fundable business or you're not going to get business funding. You can't skip that step. Well, there is a formula, there's a recipe for funding. You know it, I know it, but trust me, a lot of people don't know it. So we teach them the formula for funding in the advanced training here. We also help them clearly understand how the SPEs provide the necessary ingredients for a successful capital raise. Again, you know it, I know it, but a lot of these other people, they don't know it. And it comes down to the three C's. Businesses need to have collateral, creditworthiness, and capacity, also called cash flow, to qualify for larger business loans. Of course, that's part of the formula for funding. Again, a lot of people don't know that, and worse, a lot of people don't have that. Well, that's what the SPE does, is we provide all three C's. So that's addressed in this training. We also want to help them understand above and beyond getting a loan, because you know what a loan is. I know what a loan is. A loan's a debt. We're borrowing money through the business, often without a PG, often without a personal guarantor, but we need to pay it back, or that's what's expected. So that's included, but also on agenda item 3 of the second training is we dig into how we actually create positive cash flow for that business. And that also, so that does two things. That helps the business qualify for the funding, which we guarantee, but also gives them cash flow to pay back the funding. And then we also we wrap up the second training, the advanced training, with clarifying that there's no out-of-pocket cost to do this. We've had a few people that wanted more, so we went ahead and incorporated a bonus training that's not required, but it's encouraged. And that's where we take an even deeper dive into the SPE and look at how we can get company cars. That may be of interest to you, it may not be, but the bonus training describes that. So once a prospect has viewed the introductory training, the advanced training, and optionally the bonus training, they should understand if they're a reasonably competent adult, they've paid attention, they should understand now, and they can make an educated decision. Do they want to use this vehicle, this strategy, this structure to get funding or not? And they can compare what other options do they have for a guaranteed 250,000 in the next 30 days. You and I can guarantee that for them. Do they have other options that's better? Probably not. At that point, then they're able to get engaged. And so with that, we clarify the three primary deliverables. It is a minimum of 250,000 in funding, typically a working capital term loan, 250,000 of first month income, and then if they want ongoing income, if they want to run the SPE as a branch office. They don't have to, but it's optional. So with that, then we want to make it real simple for them to get involved. And here there's a link and it brings up the packet to enroll to get the special purpose entity. The packet starts with our flyer that we've gone through on prior trainings, and then it goes through the simple app. So it's very simple, very straightforward. So with that, this new website, the spefunding.com, is a great, concise place. Hard to get lost because it's simple enough. Essentially, go through the 3 steps, and then we're able to help the client get those deliverables that we promise. Now, some of you, many of you, especially on the live Zoom, are affiliates, are distribution partners. So you're wanting to kind of alter the process so you're able to generate income by helping others, and that's fine. So we have a new affiliate offering, still free, provides a free landing page, which we'll talk about in just a second on the right-hand side, and it is accessed also at spefunding.com. So here at the bottom, it says optionally, it's not a requirement. We're not MLM, we're not network marketing, but we do have an affiliate program. So if someone wants to be an affiliate, they can be, no cost, no purchase necessary. So they can click here to become an affiliate. Once they complete that, then they're going to receive an onboarding email and a link to their landing page that'll look like this on the right-hand side, which we're going to go through in a moment. So they'll be open for business to make money right away. As far as when they click here, it's going to open up and it's the special purpose entity SPE affiliate packet. Now, if you've been an affiliate with us in the past on a different platform, that's a different campaign, that's a different offering. You'll definitely want to fill this out. So this way you are actually getting paid for the SPE campaign. What that means specifically is you're paid twice. You're paid $5,000 up front for each SPE. Each client you get into the SPE, special purpose entity, and then also the back end is the override, the residual income for client income off of performance fees. So if you're not an affiliate, here's where you become one. If you need to learn more about becoming an affiliate, these trainings are still relevant. It's just you're looking at being the other side of the transaction, helping people with it. Once you become an affiliate, you'll immediately get a landing page. And so that's what's on the right-hand side. The landing page is obviously focused on this campaign, the SPE. To be an affiliate, it's remarkably simple. You sign up for free and then you get your landing page. And so your role is to drive people into your landing page. And then from that point forward, our attorneys and paralegals take it from there. We do all the work and you get paid again, 5,000 plus the back end ongoing revenue. So when you have your landing page, it'll be initially you'll get a generic landing page that comes right away on your onboarding email. And then once you have completed your first transaction, then they'll go in and develop a unique landing page for you. But in either case, it's going to look the same. It's going to work the same. So we can see that with the landing page, it has a brief title, SPE funding, a brief introduction, and then a few fields of data that the prospect needs to complete. It states that a SPE, special purpose entity, again, it's kind of covering what we said over here. It's a legal entity created for a specific purpose to isolate financial risk and access large amounts of business funding. Provides guaranteed funding with no upfront cost. So here we're not trying to tell the whole story because this is a landing page. It's meant to be simple, but the goal is to get the prospect into the sales funnel so we can educate them, we can get them involved, and you can get paid. The information that's necessary is first name, last name, mobile number, email, and referred by if applicable. So when you get your generic landing page, which comes right away, it's important that they list referred by you. Once you have your first conversion, you've earned your first payout, your first 5,000, then we know that you're likely going to produce. So we'll develop a different one of these that'll have a unique ID number that's specific to you. At that point, then the referred by is not necessary because it's hard coded to you. Let's go ahead and complete this so you can see how easy it is and what happens. So someone needs to put in their first name, and I'm just going to do a test. Test. We're going to put in a number. We'll say 555, 555, 5555. Of course, you want to put in accurate information. Email test@test.com, referred by Joe. So what has to happen for the prospect to go into the funnel is the fields need to be completed. They need to check this box and then press this button here. And what's going to happen afterwards are two things. First of all, it's going to change the screen, which I'll show you in just a moment. And then also it's going to text them to whatever number they put in and opt in. Because for us to do drip marketing via text, they need to agree. They need to give us permission to reach out to them via text. So there's two things that happen once someone comes through the landing page. An immediate change of the screen, which I'll show, and then secondly, an initial text sent to this number so they can opt in by just typing yes, and then there is a drip campaign of messages that'll go to them over time that creates more education, more familiarity, and invites them to participate. However, if you're actually with them physically or telephonically online, when they complete this, when you see this screen change, it will allow them to immediately become a client without being dependent upon the drip campaign. So the client should put in their own information. You might say, well, why don't I just put in my client's information for them? Well, because the screen's going to change in a moment, which I'll show, and give them the opportunity to enroll right then. So if they're not doing it on their screen's not going to change. And secondly, it's going to text them an opt-in. And if they're not the one doing this, then they're going to get that opt-in via text, and they're going to be like, what the hell is this? They're probably not going to opt in. So this should be completed by the prospect, not by you. Otherwise, it probably won't work. But regardless, so this information's put in, we check the box, we click the bar, and then what happens? Bam! bam, the screen changes automatically. Now they're able to go ahead and get enrolled right now. We don't have to wait for text to go through. Bam, it just comes up. So this is the same as I described to you a few minutes ago over here on step number 3. So this brings up again the info sheet and then the application, and they move forward. So, with that being said, who has questions, comments, or concerns about the structure of the SPE program, how it works, how it helps clients, or for those of you that want to be an affiliate, a distribution partner, how to be one? What questions do you have? And again, as a reminder, we will not have a Zoom tomorrow because of travel. So, spefunding.com is now our new go-to resource for this campaign. It's real easy. It's a simple place to go get trained or to train others, and then they enroll. They can enroll right here, but most often you'll probably want them to enroll through your landing page because this is what's going to capture and connect them to you so you get paid. You get paid 5,000 up front plus the percent of the back end. All right. Aziz says thank you, or you're welcome. So again, important point. So if you were an affiliate or not an affiliate on prior campaigns, it is important if you want to offer the SPE to come over here to SPE funding and go ahead and get set up. Otherwise, you won't have this landing page. You won't be set up to be paid off this campaign, this offering. All right, so Cameron has a good question. Cameron's asking about getting additional funding. So what he's right, and he's been on the trainings. If you all haven't been on the training, what you'll learn when you go through these training sessions is that the SPE is set up as a management consulting business. And that's a good industry code to have. It's very fundable. And it works really well for a $250,000 capital raise. Because by industry code, there has to be some believability of how much funding you need. So let me give you a bad example. But let's say that you and I were going to start a babysitting business and we wanted to borrow $1 million to start a babysitting business. Well, that doesn't make sense, right? Because how would you need that much money to do something that has such low capital requirements? So that's an extreme example, hyperbole, if you will, but it shows it's kind of disjointed. So for every type of industry, there's some reasonableness of how much we can borrow. Like if we're going to go buy an apartment complex, that could be a really big number, right? Because we're going to have to buy the apartment complex. We may need to rehab it. We're going to need staff. We're going to need operating capital. So it all has to make sense. And this is something that doesn't make sense to a lot of clients. They just want a lot of money without the logic or the rationale. That's too good to be true. So, with that being said, as a management consulting platform structure, it's really well suited to a $250,000 capital raise. So, what do we do if someone wants more than $250,000? We have two options, and either of them are fine. We can either repeat this process and do multiple SPEs until we reach the desired capital raise. So, that's one option. The other is to do a custom SPE. So instead of this pre-structured, ready-to-go management consulting, we could pick a different industry, which would then have a different use of funds, which then could qualify for a much larger amount. So it's okay if a client wants to do custom. It's a lot easier, quicker, faster to just use this as it's structured and repeated if it's necessary. But regardless, yes, we can do larger capital raises. Cameron's question more specifically was, and I'll paraphrase it a bit, but what could we do to get this SPE to qualify for larger amounts? because it comes down to the three C's, like what we talked about, and that's what's built in. And if that doesn't make sense, you can come down here and watch the training. So if we want a larger capital raise, then following the formula for funding, we're going to have to look at the entity we have, the industry that it operates, and we may have to increase one or more of the three C's to qualify for a larger capital raise. And the three C's, of course, creditworthiness, collateral, capacity. So Matthew and Cameron's right. It's real easy to increase collateral. We can load on millions of dollars of collateral, but that alone doesn't make it make sense. We're going to have to make some other changes to either the industry or at least the uses of funds. So we'll work with each client if they have a capital raise that is desire that's more than 250,000. That's fine. They should still get started here. They should still watch the trainings. They should still enroll. That'll get us started. But then we'll work with them to decide, what do we want to do? Do we want to repeat the process in $250,000 increments, or do we want to change the structure, such as the industry code, the uses of funds, and then collaterals he mentioned, to qualify for a larger amount? So yes, we can do more, but I ask, and I say this very respectfully, we don't want to be greedy. So here's a turnkey model that's guaranteed to work with no out-of-pocket cost. And so yes, we could do it multiple times. I know a lot of times more is better, right? More is better, but we might just want to start with the first 250,000 if people could be patient. But I do know that in some cases, some clients need a much larger amount. And if that's the case, again, two answers. It's either going to be we either need to repeat this multiple times in $250,000 increments, or we need to go from a structured SPE to a custom, one-off, change the industry, change the uses of funds. So yes, we can definitely accomplish that. All right, so let's see here. Matthew's bringing up another point, and if I understand it correctly. So as we've covered in some of the other trainings, which you'll see, I definitely encourage you all, whether you're a prospective participant as a client to raise capital, and or if you're a prospective affiliate to help people, these trainings are crucial. And I'd go ahead and watch all three, one, two, and three. But with that being said, I've lost my point now, that we can work with each client to accomplish what they're wanting to accomplish. But it starts with the same starting point. There's a formula for funding, whether it be a small amount of funding or a large amount of funding, and we need to go through those three C's. But Matthew's point now comes back to me is that the structure of the SPE is around setting up management consulting businesses. That's the industry code, and the revenue stream itself comes from being a loan broker. Clients do not have to operate the business. They could just get the funding and not operate it. And we've talked about that, and you'll see that in the trainings. But that's where we're getting to the point. It would make sense to operate it. We're going to essentially flood it with income and clients in the first month. That's part of our deliverables. But certainly the client could continue to operate the management consulting business thereafter if they wanted to. And by doing so, that creates ongoing revenue. It's just when you look at the name of this, it starts to make sense. This is a special purpose entity. So what happens is some cases people say, well, no, I don't want management consulting. I want to open a doctor's office. I'm a doctor. I need money to open a doctor's office. Well, that's fine. We're not suggesting that you don't have your medical practice or whatever else you're wanting to do, but this is a separate entity, a special purpose entity that's specifically for the capital raise. So it would run side by side. The purpose of the SPE is for the capital raise, whereby many people will have another entity that is their primary business. This is a niche instrument to raise capital because we can't get business funding without a fundable business. We've covered that. And so what we're doing is we're providing a business entity that is fundable for the capital raise. But that does not preclude them from having other businesses, and they can move the money that's been raised in the SPE over to their other business or businesses if they want. All right, good question. So some of these concepts are really important, but once you understand them, it's magical. It's great. It's not too good to be true. I think it's too good to pass up on. Because if you're effective in helping people solve problems, if they have a problem, if they need money to start or grow a business, I think you're going to find 9 out of 10 times this is the best way to go about it, especially in light of that there's no out-of-pocket cost and there's a guaranteed capital raise. All right, so do any of you need any help, guidance, or instructions on how to get set up either to participate if you're looking for funding yourself and or to get set up as an affiliate if you want to get paid? That's my goal here before we wrap up in 2, 3, 4 minutes. Do you know what to do? So you're going to go to spefunding.com. Get trained. Do you have to? No, but we recommend it. What we don't want to have is someone enrolls and say, oh, no one told me that. Well, if you watch training one, training two, and preferably the bonus training, you should know really well how it works. At that point, we're on step 3. We just simply click here and it's going to pop up the participation agreement. This is the same participation agreement that comes through the landing page. Again, we have a review of what's included, and then there's a one-page application. Top half is business information, bottom half is key person, business owner information. Everything on top is optional, everything on the bottom is needed. They fill that out, no hard inquiries, no upfront cost. That comes back, and we start the capital raise right away. Everyone will get at least one offer. So we're not saying that it's free to get an SPE, but we are saying that there's no out-of-pocket cost. It can be paid through financing, and we do have financing for all circumstances. So you might say, well, what if someone has bad credit? They'll still get approved. What if someone has no credit? They'll still get approved. What if someone has no social security number? They'll still get approved. We have over 40 different lenders that are participating on this project, and several of them work with the subprime space, and one of them will fund anyone because, frankly, we're the guarantor on the loan. So, yes, I don't think you're going to find a reason why someone couldn't participate and wouldn't be successful. All right, so again, spefunding.com is the new resource, training that's available. Get plugged in if you're wanting funding yourself and or if you want to get paid to help other people. It's here at the bottom. Click it. It brings up the affiliate packet, no cost. All right. Well, if you need anything else, let us know. Our phone number is, of course, here on the bottom of spefunding.com. Due to travel, we're opening a new branch office, actually. So we'll be gone tomorrow, but we'll be back on Thursday. If you need anything, give us a call, and we'll see you Thursday morning on training. Thanks, everyone. Have a good day. Bye-bye.